All right, folks, big day in paradise and plenty to unpack. So let's just dive right into it. Celtic have made a bold call this week, and it's one that's got fans split right down the middle. The club will not be postponing that match day 3. Premiership fixture against Livingston, even though they had the option to do so with the Champions League playoff ties coming up either side of it. A lot of supporters were expecting the club to take that opportunity to ease the pressure, but nope, we're going full steam ahead. Now is it the right move? That depends on how you see it. Some fans are buzzing about the fact the club's keeping things rolling, maybe even sensing a bit of confidence in the depth of the squad. Others a bit more nervous, worried about burnout, about risks, especially with those huge European nights on the horizon. But look, when you take a step back and really think about it, there's something to admire about the decision. It shows Celtic believe in their squad. Brendan Rodgers clearly sees enough depth in his team to rotate and still get the job. Done at home to Livingston while keeping legs fresh for that all-important second leg of the Champions League playoff. And let's be honest, that belief might just go a long way in building momentum, because momentum matters. It's not just a buzzword managers throw around. When you're winning games, you want to keep winning. And there's something powerful about staying in rhythm. Now it's not just about tactics and fitness. There's a fan angle here too. Think about the supporters who've already booked their travel. Ferries, flights, trains, hotels, all that. Effort and money. Canceling or shifting that game would have been a nightmare for loads of people. So in a sense, Celtic keeping the fixture in place is also a nod of respect to the fans who show up week in, week out. And let's not forget, we're talking about a home match against Livingston, not a tricky away trip. So it's a gamble, but maybe it's a smart one. With that decision locked in, we now know exactly how August shapes up. And let me tell you, it's a packed month. 6 matches between now and the end of it, and they come thick and fast. Aberdeen at Pittodrie this Sunday kicks it all off. A lunchtime kickoff live on Sky. That's followed by a rare Friday night fixture at Celtic Park. A Premier Sports Cup clash against Falkirk. Now that's a bit of a novelty Friday night. Under the lights should be a good atmosphere. But the real bonus there is that extra recovery time before the first leg of the Champions League playoff set for Wednesday the 20th. 8 o'clock kickoff. Opponents still to be decided between Slovan and KA, but at least we've got the date and time confirmed. Then it's Livingston at home on the Saturday just 3 days later. After that, we head into the return leg of the playoff on Tuesday the 26th with kickoff time still to be confirmed depending on who we're playing and time zones. Then to top it all off, the first derby of the season at Ibrox that following Sunday. Sky have picked up that one too, of course. So yeah, buckle up. It's going to be a wild few weeks. Now let's talk transfers, and more specifically, the newest boy in the building, Jamai Simpson-Pusey, officially announced number 4, shirt on his back, and plenty of curiosity around what kind of player Celtic are actually getting here. There wasn't much to take away from his first club interview. Bit of a generic one if we're honest, but the buzz isn't about what he says, it's about what he does, and what he might become. Brendan Rodgers has spoken about his pace, his defensive awareness, but also his ability to progress the ball and kickstart attacks. That's a pretty attractive package in a modern centre-back. From what we've seen of Simpson-Pusey, he's aggressive, mobile, and technically sound. Not just a stopper, but a ball carrier too. He fits that mold of a modern defender who can step into midfield and keep things moving. Now there's debate over whether he's been brought in as a squad player or to partner Cameron Carter-Vickers as a starter. Some say he's too raw, too young, not enough senior experience. But that argument kind of falls apart when you remember Jason Denayer. He came in even greener and turned out to be a standout for us, so why not Simpson-Pusey? He's been in the Manchester City system, highly rated, and now he's got a chance to prove himself in a Celtic shirt. You'd imagine Rodgers didn't bring him in just to warm the bench. What this signing also does is raise the level of competition at the back. Liam Scales, Austin Trusty, they've now got another name pushing them for minutes. Dane Murray's still around too. But according to Rodgers, Simpson-Pusey will be the final centre-back addition of the window. That's it. The 5 we've got are the 5 we go with. You can probably throw Anna Moore into that group as well, even though he's technically a left-back. But his situation's a bit unclear. He didn't even make the squad on Sunday, which tells you something. There's a fair chance he could be heading out on loan, which means left-back is still an issue that hasn't been fully addressed. Let's not sugarcoat it. We need one, urgently. And the same goes for other parts of the pitch. Midfield reasonably well stocked. Goalkeeper and right back fine. But up top, that's where things get worrying. It's the attacking third, where Celtic are still miles off being ready for the season we've got ahead. A first choice right winger is a must. A proper striker to lead the line is a must. Another left-sided option wouldn't go amiss either, especially if it frees up Tierney to stay deeper and let the winger stretch things. Now, if the club does manage to pull off those signings, and it's a big if, then suddenly the whole picture changes. You go from worrying about depth to genuinely being excited about the squad. But if we go into a Champions League playoff without adding real quality in attack, that's a massive risk. And it's one we've seen backfire before. The frustrating part isn't just about who we haven't signed yet. It's when we sign them. The trend over the last few years is becoming painfully familiar. Wait, then cram a bunch of business into the final days of the window. Let's look at the last 3 summers to make sense of it. Summer 2023. Bit of a disaster, let's be honest. Nearly 19 million spent and very little to show for it. Some early signings that flopped and then a bit of a scramble. Near the end, Nawrocki and Lagerbielke came in as replacements for Carl Starfelt. Lewis Palmer arrived to fill the Jota void Paulo Bernardo sort of covered for Aaron Mui. All last minute. And the impact mixed at best. Fast forward to last summer. Celtic spent big. Possibly the club's biggest ever transfer window in terms of total spend over 30 million. Broke the transfer record twice. But again, most of the heavy lifting happened in the final 2 weeks. 18 million on deadline day alone. That kind of money should be building the spine of a team, not plugging holes last minute. And then this summer, so far just 3.5 million spent. Now that number isn't necessarily a red flag. You've got Kieran Tierney and Benji Negron coming in on relatively low fees but with big wages. Smart business, no doubt. Both players are worth far more than their transfer tags. But still, we're already into August and the areas that needed addressing back in May still haven't been sorted. Left back, striker, right winger. Same story, different year. And what's really frustrating supporters now is that this isn't a regular summer. This is a summer with a Champions League qualifier. This isn't a year where we can afford to sleepwalk through July and expect everything to be fine. The club should have been building toward that playoff like it was a final. Instead, we're going into it with glaring gaps and hoping for the best. Maybe a right winger gets done in time, but a striker too doubtful. And left back, don't hold your breath. You can feel the tension, can you? It's not doomsday, not yet, but it is a gamble, and it is frustrating. Rodgers wants reinforcements, the fans are demanding them, but the board seems to be playing the long game again. And the reality is Celtic are likely to do business right up to the final day of the window. Maybe they spend 7 or 8 million. Here or there, maybe a loan or two, and suddenly the squad looks a bit stronger. But should we really be relying on late deals every single year? Shouldn't we be better prepared, especially when there's a Champions League spot? And all the money and prestige that comes with it. On the line, right now it feels like we're stuck in a holding pattern. Just waiting, watching the days tick down, refreshing timelines, hoping for some movement. It's exhausting. And while it might all come good in the end, just like it did last season, it's not the way a club with Celtic stature should be operating. Anyway, that's the state of play for now. Still plenty to talk about, especially when we dive deeper into how Tierney and Johnston might shape up as our main fullback pair in this season. Alistair Johnston gave us a wee bit of insight into how things are shaping up tactically under Brendan Rodgers this season, and honestly, it was more interesting than some of the transfer talk we've been drowning in. He was asked about how he and Kieran Tierney might work together as the 2 fullbacks, and what he said backs up what a lot of us have been seeing with our own eyes. Tierney's not going to be asked to invert into midfield simple as that. He's a traditional fullback up and down that left flank, driving forward, whipping crosses in, and defending his side like his life depends on it. And that's where he's at his best. None of this modern day half midfielder, half fullback nonsense for him. Just proper old school left back play. Rodgers is playing to his strengths, and rightly so. But what's more fascinating is what Johnston said about his own role. Now he's never really been your classic inverted fullback either, but there were plenty of moments on Sunday, especially when the ball was over on Tierney's side, where Johnston tucked in massively. Not just holding a narrower defensive shape, but genuinely stepping into central areas like a makeshift midfielder. And that's becoming more and more common in his game. He even acknowledged it himself, saying that while he might not invert in the traditional Pep Guardiola sort of way, the spaces he occupies when players down the left are definitely more central than what you'd expect from a right back. And here's the exciting part. He reckons that'll become even more effective once we've got a proper right winger in the side. Because right now Yang's there, but let's be honest, he's still got a long way to go. There's potential. Aye, but he's not terrifying defenders every week. When Johnston tucks in and leaves the winger isolated one-on-one with the fullback, that's the moment you want a bit of quality out wide. A real difference maker. Someone who can beat their man, whip a ball, and make something happen. If Celtic go out and bring in someone with a bit of magic on that right flank, then Johnston stepping into midfield starts to make a lot more sense. It stretches the play, gives you more overloads, creates chances. But we need that winger, and it's baffling that we're still waiting on one when it's been obvious for months. Now I know some people are screaming at the screen saying, but we're not that far off. And in fairness, they've got a point. We're not talking about a full rebuild here. Celtic aren't miles away from having a proper balanced squad. But it's the key positions that still haven't been sorted. Right wing and striker are absolutely essential. Not luxuries, not nice to haves. Musts. And left back too, even with Tierney in the building. Because if Tierney picks up a knock, and given his history that's hardly unthinkable, then what, we can't go into another European campaign crossing our fingers and hoping guys play every minute of every match. It's not sustainable. But maybe that's why this moment feels so frustrating, because it's so close to being right. Just a few smart signings, a bit of urgency, and suddenly Celtic look like a side that can not only dominate domestically, but actually show up on those massive Champions League nights. But the longer we wait, the more you worry that we'll fall short again and be left wondering what might have been. Let's go back to this summer's transfer window so far. 7 signings in, but if we're being brutally honest, how many of those names are making your heart race? Tierney is the obvious standout. A homecoming that's got fans buzzing, and rightly so. He's still one of the best left backs we've produced in a generation. Benji Negron looks solid as a backup keeper. Then you've got the likes of Simpson Pusey, who could turn out to be a gem, but is still a gamble. And then there's a group of players, Amura, Osman Yamada, that feel like boardroom signings rather than Rodgers signings. You know the ones. The project players. Might work out, might not. But in the meantime, they're clogging up the wage bill and not helping us win matches today. It's that disconnect between the manager and the recruitment strategy that's starting to gnaw away at people. Rodgers has made it clear. He wants first-team ready players. He said as much in pressers and interviews. He's not here to babysit wonder kids. He's here to win. But when you look at some of the names coming through the door, you can't help but think the board are still shopping from the development aisle instead of the top shelf. That's where the worry creeps in, because Champions League football isn't just about the money. Though, let's be honest, it's a lot of money. It's about prestige. It's about momentum. It's about being a club that top players want to join. And every time we fumble through a qualifier or get embarrassed, in the group stage, it chips away at that reputation. What's maddening is that we've been here before. This is not new territory for Celtic. We know how this movie goes. A slow start to the window, a few smart signings, a few project players, panic buys late on, and then we cross our fingers and hope it all gels by October. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. Not with the resources we have. Not with the fan base we've got. Celtic should be a club that's setting the agenda, not reacting to it. And you can see Rodgers feels that tension too. He's not coming out and slating the board. He's too smart for that. But there's been enough little comments, enough reading between the lines to know he's not exactly thrilled with how slow things are moving. The message is clear. Back me properly, or don't be surprised if I start looking elsewhere. And no one wants that. Because say what you want about his first spell, Rodgers knows how to win in Scotland. He knows how to build a dominant side. But he needs the tools. Now look, there's still time. The window's not shut yet. We've seen in the past that Celtic can pull off decent business late on. Lewis Palmer, despite the timing, was a good addition. Nat Phillips was Nat Phillips. But you get the idea. The issue isn't just about when the signings happen. It's about what type of signings they are. We don't need any more could-be-good players. We need players who walk into the starting 11 and make us better on day one. And let's be clear, the bar is high this season. Rangers are going to be strong. Aberdeen have recruited well. Hearts are steady. Hibs will always give us a game. The league isn't a stroll anymore. And with the Champions League carrot dangling in front of us, there's absolutely no room for complacency. Every decision, every delay matters, especially in August. Because here's the thing, once the window shuts, that's it. You go into the next 4 or 5 months with what you've got. No duvers, no late additions. You're judged on that squad. And that's why these next few weeks are so vital. That's why there's so much frustration among the support. Not because people love moaning, although it might seem like that online sometimes, but because they care. Because they can see what this squad could be if only the club got its act together and finished the job. And maybe that's the most frustrating thing of all. The fact that we're so close. You can see the pieces on the board. A rock-solid defense taking shape. Midfield with depth. A proper left back finally in the building. But without that cutting edge in the final third, it's just not enough. Not to win the league convincingly. Not to make a dent in Europe. Not to give Brendan Rodgers the tools to do what he came back here to do. So now we wait. Again, we wait to see if the board will step up. We wait to see if the club will finally learn the lessons from windows past. And we wait to see who's going to walk through that door in the next 3 weeks. And more importantly, when they'll arrive. And just to wrap it up, at least for today, let's not forget what's actually happening on the pitch. Pre-seasons behind us, competitive matches are here. And the calendar is stacked. Every match matters now. Aberdeen away is never easy, but it's a massive chance to set the tone. Follow that up with a cup game at home, then the first leg of a Champions League playoff that could define our season, then Livingston, then the return leg, then Ibrox. There's no time left for indecision. Celtic need to get their house in order, fast. Because once the music starts, you don't want to be the one still scrambling to find your seat. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. There's a storm brewing in the East End of Glasgow, and whispers are growing louder by the hour. Rumours coming from inside Celtic Park suggest that the Hoops are on the verge of finalising a sensational deal for Belgian-Congolese winger Michel Ange. BALIKWISHA, a dynamic talent currently dazzling in the Belgian Pro League. While nothing has been officially confirmed by either club, trusted voices close to the negotiations claim that terms have been agreed in principle with just minor details left to iron out. If true, this could be the most significant move of Celtic's summer window, a real statement of intent as Brendan Rodgers looks to reshape his side for European competition. BALIKWISHA, known for his pace, flair, and ability to beat defenders with ease, has reportedly been tracked by scouts from Parkhead for months. Now, with the new season drawing near and the Champions League qualifiers looming, the timing of this move hints at something much bigger. A calculated push for European progress. Sources close to the player suggest he is thrilled by the prospect of joining a club of Celtic stature and is already envisioning himself playing under the lights at Paradise. Could this be the signing that changes everything? Fans across Scotland are buzzing with speculation, and the news has lit up social media platforms with Celtic supporters expressing cautious optimism. BALIKWISHA, a player long admired for his performances at Royal Antwerp, is believed to have been on Celtic's radar since last winter. He fits the mold of a modern winger, capable of cutting inside with precision, providing service from wide areas, and offering a goal threat from distance. With Liel Abada's future uncertain and rumors of Jota's return extinguished, the left flank needed fresh firepower, and BALIKWISHA might just be the answer. The move is seen as part of a broader strategy from Rodgers, who is intent on crafting a squad not just for domestic dominance, but for a meaningful run in Europe. Some insiders believe the transfer could be announced within days, if not hours, once the final paperwork is completed. While skeptics argue that no deal is done until it's official, the sheer volume of reports, coupled with silence from both clubs, only fuels the speculation. If BALIKWISHA lands in Glasgow, expect the green and white half of the city to erupt. It's a tantalizing prospect, one that signals ambition, vision, and belief. Behind the scenes, Celtic's recruitment team is believed to have been working overtime, with BALIKWISHA identified early as a key target. His performances in last season's Belgian League campaign, where he notched up goals and assists in crucial matches, didn't go unnoticed. Rodgers, returning to Parkhead for a second spell, has reportedly made it clear to the board that Champions League progression is a priority, not just financially, but to restore Celtic's stature on the continental stage. Bringing in a player like BALIKWISHA, who has already tasted European football and shown he can thrive under pressure, is seen as a crucial step in that journey. Sources in Belgium claim Celtic outbid several other suitors, including clubs in France and the Netherlands, to secure the winger's services. While Celtic are keeping their cards close to their chest, the rumor mill is in overdrive, with travel trackers and insider leaks suggesting that BALIKWISHA's arrival in Glasgow could be imminent. This sort of bold move is what fans have been craving, proof that the club is serious about building a side that can not only reclaim domestic silverware, but also turn heads in the Champions League. Could this be the dawn of a new era? What adds further intrigue to this developing story is the timing. With Celtic drawn into the early rounds of Champions League qualifying, a signing of BALIKWISHA's caliber could be a masterstroke. The club has often been criticized in the past for waiting too long to make marquee signings, but this deal, if confirmed, would mark a departure from that trend. BALIKWISHA's pace and trickery would offer a different dimension to Celtic's attack, something they've arguably lacked since the departure of Jota. While many are comparing the Belgian winger to past Celtic greats, insiders urge caution, reminding supporters that the adaptation to Scottish football can take time. However, optimism remains high, and Celtic's faithful are daring to dream. The possibility of seeing BALIKWISHA lining up alongside the likes of Kyogo, McGregor, and Hatate is already fueling excitement among fans and pundits alike. Rodgers, who has quietly gone about restructuring the squad, seems to be making moves with European ambition at heart. If the rumors hold true, this could be the coup of the summer in Scottish football. A signing that shows Celtic are no longer just reacting, but planning with intent. Could BALIKWISHA be the missing piece even? Rangers supporters are said to be watching the situation closely, as the potential arrival of BALIKWISHA raises the bar in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic's rivals are surely aware that a signing of this magnitude might tilt the domestic power balance further in favor of the Hoops. While nothing is ever guaranteed in football, the momentum seems undeniable. Journalists with close ties to the Celtic board are quietly suggesting that this is only the beginning, with 2 or 3 more names being lined up should Celtic reach the Champions League group stage. If BALIKWISHA does sign and performs as expected, it could open the door for a new wave of ambition at Celtic Park. Not just financially through European revenue, but in global recognition, squad quality, and long-term strategy. The fan base, long accustomed to bold dreams and continental heartbreak, may finally have reason to believe in a brighter future. As always in football, nothing is official until the shirt is held aloft, but the signs are pointing to a spectacular addition. For now, Celtic fans can only hold their breath, keep an eye on the skies over Glasgow Airport, and dare to hope. Could this be the signing that takes them back to European nights of glory? Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.